now my associate, otherwise known as my sister, Victoria, will demonstrate how to crush a water bottle.
Yes, so as you can see, we have an empty used water bottle. Be sure to recycle, people. It is right now, as we speak, oxygen atoms are bouncing off of the walls and filling up this container and just expanding and expanding. Now we're going to cap that oxygen off. Now, we know that there's oxygen atoms in here because when we try to crush the water bottle, it's quite impossible because there's matter in here that's preventing us from doing it, pressure. So, we're going to do a little experiment. So you're going to take the end of the water bottle around this point and you're going to twist. As you can see over here, since all the oxygen atoms are congregated in this section, it's even harder to crush the water bottle. And if we're popping the top on, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. One moment. All right. I did this all through middle school, and now I've lost the talent.
Great job, associate Victoria. Alright, for this next activity, you will need a cup, water, soap, a straw, and some kind of covering for your table. I'm using saran wrap, but it's probably not the best material just because the water and soap might get through to the table. However, if you have a plastic tablecloth, that would be the best material for this. So I'm going to start by filling my water cup up halfway with water, spoon of dish soap, mix it up, and make bubble water. So we are about to do our bubble experiment, and the first thing you need to do after you put on the plastic tablecloth or whatever protection that you have over your table is add some water. Now the reason you want to add some water is because liquid water has this amazing ability to stick to itself. The molecules are pulled toward each other. It's known as cohesion, which means that all the water is always trying to get to the center. That's why droplets are in the shape of a circle, and they're circular because all of the droplets are trying to pull together. And that's why when water is about to spill out over a glass, if I were to fill up this cup and I continue to add drops, the surface area would actually increase as the water tried to stay together, even to the point that it could be over the cup and the water's pulling itself because the molecules are trying to attach to each other so much. So when we're creating bubbles, we need to make sure that there's no dry spots on the table, because wherever the bubble hits on a dry spot, the bubble will pop. But if there's a wet spot, then it will continue to move smooth. Now that I have my surface, I'm going to start with an experimental bubble. I think that's the biggest one of the night. That was an amazing bubble. Oh my gosh. Well, the crazy thing about bubbles is that because the water is spreading out so much as the surface continues to expand around that air that's taking up space, coming directly from my lungs, going into the bubble and actually showing you the matter known as air, As it begins to expand, the surface becomes thinner and thinner and thinner. And when you only have a small bit of liquid water, it evaporates really quickly, as you know, on a summer day. If you have just a droplet fall from your soda can, that will be gone from the ground in no time. So you know that it's going to turn into air rather quickly. That's the problem with bubbles. They pop quickly. And that's why the more water you have, the better. Also, if you happen to have glycerin, that material will help your bubbles help the water not to evaporate as quickly, and you can add that to your bubble mixture. Most people don't usually have that in their kitchen though, so I didn't mention that earlier. However, if you have it, I would pause the video and add it. So make sure that when you try this, and on this second try, hopefully you'll be doing it with me, that you are able to hopefully get someone to take a picture of you and your bubble. I want to see who gets the biggest bubble, and you can even measure it with a ruler or a yardstick or a meter stick if you have one. All right, second try. Sometimes it's like this. Okay, I hope you're able to get a bubble. Okay, mine was really small that time, but it was really cool. Bubbles are so neat. Now, the amazing thing about bubbles is that while I'm blowing air, you can see the matter transferring from my lungs to the surface of this table. Air is actually made of something. It's made of atoms connected to other atoms, also known as molecules. It has matter. It is matter. And it has a mass. There is a certain amount of matter, or a total mass, for every single bubble that I'm blowing. Now, in the old days, and even as a kid, you probably thought that that air was nothing. You would have said, there's nothing in my hands, right? When actually, air is something. So, that brings us to our second challenge. Can you create a bubble within a bubble? Make sure that your straw is wet to the point that you're going into the bubble. Move it inside the bubble, then try to blow another one. Sometimes it will connect and make that bubble even bigger, or go to the outside of the bubble. So I'm going to try that one more time. Okay, now let me see if I can create another bubble within that bubble. See how many you can create. Oh, I got to 3. Oh, there they go splitting. You can also split your bubble, so try that too. If your straw is wet, you can split it. Now if it's dry, it will pop the bubble. And remember, eventually these bubbles will evaporate because it's very thin, the amount of water on the outside of this air. I'm gonna see how many I can split it in before they pop. Oh, looks like I got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're easier when they're smaller. Okay, that's the highest I went. So yeah, see if you can. Now, as I said, if you have water on your hand, you can actually transfer a bubble. So I'm gonna make a bubble. And then I'm gonna try to pick it up. Just for fun. There seems to be, the air conditioner seems to be right there. And it's blowing right now. You can see the bubble traveling across. So I'm gonna wet my hand, and I'm going to try to pick up a bubble. Oh, so close. There's gonna be a lot of trying, a lot of failing, but that's what science is. Trial and error till you figure out what worked and how things work. That's the fun of it. So I hope you take your time and you really play with this, because there's all kinds of things you can do with bubble. And as you play, think about it. What's actually happening? Einstein says that imagination is vital for intelligence. And I'm paraphrasing. He truly believed that in the importance of imagination. And that's how he was able to figure out so many things. Now, the last thing that I challenge you to do is to see if you could make a cool bubble volcano by blowing air straight into your cup. Science is cool!